Welcome to the channel and welcome to today's run through of all the latest Manchester United news and transfer updates, keeping you right up to date with everything. I'm Jamie. Before we get into it, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's jump straight into it. I've literally had to re-record this video twice now because the news is breaking at the time I'm sat down recording, which is at 1:10 regarding Benjamin Šeško. I'm going to go through a timeline still though of all the latest, but get ready to get excited for some of you anyway. So firstly, David Ornstein last night said that Newcastle United make improved bid for RB Leipzig for Benjamin Šeško. New offer worth at least 80 million euros after positive talks between clubs with the 22-year-old striker. Nothing agreed, but RB Leipzig currently favour Newcastle. No Man United proposal yet. Then we had Alex Crook saying that Newcastle want an answer on Sesko's side by Wednesday. No movement from Manchester United as of tonight. Craig Hope, who's close to Newcastle, said it is expected and hoped that a resolution will be reached one way or another tomorrow, i.e. today. Fabrizio Romano has said that as of tonight, Benjamin Šeško has still not decided what he wants to do, taking his time and assessing all of the options, Newcastle and Manchester United. As of tonight, RB Leipzig have not accepted the bid from Newcastle because it will be Benjamin Šeško that will dictate the story, but Newcastle are playing hard. Manchester United reacted by telling RB Leipzig again in verbal contact that they are aware of the bid, but they will also bid for Sesko if he decides to come to us. Now, we need to bear that bit in mind when we go through the rest of the ports, that we will only bid for Sesko if he says that he wants to come to us. That's the only way we're bidding for players under Ineos and the new regime. We are not getting in the bidding wars of players that don't want to come to United, and that's from Fabrizio Romano, and we've seen that with Mbeumo and Cunha and some of the previous transfers that we've done as well. So that's a key to bear in mind when we go through the rest of the news. Now, Jan Fjortov said that RB Leipzig wants to sell Sesko to the highest bidder. Manchester United need to convince Benjamin Šeško about the project and also match the bid Newcastle made in the recent hours, so 90 million euros total package. Without both, the deal becomes very difficult. So just to be clear, Newcastle's bid that's been submitted is a total, it's £79 million in total, which is £70 million upfront and £9 million in add-ons. The actual equation is £69.4 million upfront and £8.7 million in add-ons. So 69.4, so £70 million upfront is Newcastle's current offer, and then add-ons and stuff. But who cares about those, because they'll only get matched if the player does well. James Ducker from The Telegraph said that Benjamin Šeško is thought to be waiting to see what Manchester United do before making a final decision on his future. Sky Sports are saying that Manchester United are internally discussing their next moves for Šeško, seeking confirmation of his interest before making a formal bid. They've also looked into the condition of signing other strikers such as Ollie Watkins. So all the roads and all the noise regarding the situation is that Newcastle have made an official bid. We don't know if that's been accepted or been rejected. The Romano and everyone, Sky, James Ducker, all saying that if we will only bid if we get the green light from Sesko that he wants to come to United. Then we've had Jan Fjortov saying that Manchester United have put in a bid for the player, a total package of 85 million euros. So now I'm thinking Jan Fjortov's actually fairly credible when it comes to German and Bundesliga news. So I'm thinking I'd still want to see a bit more credibility. So 85 million euros, bid in by Manchester United, according to Jan Fjortov. Sport Bild, who a good German source, said that Manchester United have submitted an offer of 85 million euros, so 73.86 million pounds for Benjamin Šeško. And now I was waiting, and I've recorded a video, and literally the news just blew up as I was recording from none other than David Ornstein confirming that United have made an official bid. So Manchester United make offer to RB Leipzig for Benjamin Šeško. Proposal 75 million euros plus 10 million reflects Man United's valuation of 22-year-old. They believe striker favours Old Trafford. No reply yet from RB Leipzig. Newcastle also working to close the deal. So we have now officially entered the race for Benjamin Šeško. Now, the reason I said it was important to remember what Romano and everyone was saying before is we will only bid for Šeško if he chooses to come to United. We don't want to get in a bidding war between us and Newcastle, because Newcastle will win that war because they've got more money than us. They're on the verge of, selling Isak for £120 million. So they've got the cash available to outbid us for Benjamin Šeško. So that's really excited, because I think that if we've made an official bid, I think we've been told by Sesko that he wants to come. That's how I read in between the lines, read in between all the noise. It could be, though, a ploy where we have to make a bid in order for Sesko to make his mind up. That couldn't be ruled out. There is that possibility as well. But give us your thoughts and feelings on that. It's literally just breaking, so I'm just going to see if there's any more news at the time of recording, because no doubt I'm going to see a snowball now of journalists all getting involved after. In fair play, and the reason I did it in that order is because Bill and Jan Fjortov actually did break that first. I was waiting for a confirmation from Ornstein, because in my head I was thinking, well, Ornstein's going to break this news, not necessarily any other outlets, because he's the one that's been breaking the official bids. Ben Jacobs saying Manchester United have made a formal offer for Benjamin Šeško worth €85 million, 75 million fixed with 10 million in add-ons, 5 million easily achievable. Newcastle's offer slightly higher, with a fixed fee of €80 million, but United believe Sesko wants to join them. That's come out literally from Ben Jacobs at the time that I'm recording this video. So Newcastle would bid a little bit more, but I don't think we would bid if we weren't confident we were going to get the player, or the player didn't want to come. That's always been the narrative from Romano, and all the other reporters have been saying that we will only bid for players if we get the go-ahead from the player to want to come. So I think that's for those that want Sesko. I think that's a positive sign. What do we think of the price, though? That's a lot. Just go back to the slide. 75 million euros plus 10 million in add-ons. What was it in pounds? 73.6 million pounds. It is what it is. We knew it was going to be expensive. No one said that going for Sesko was going to be cheap. The belief was maybe later on in the transfer window, Leipzig would drop their asking price, but clearly they haven't, and they don't want to do that. And even more so if we're in negotiation, or if we're in a bidding war, between us and Newcastle. So let's see what Romano's had to say, because again, there's news breaking. So Manchester United believes Sesko is keen on the move and decided to proceed with an official bid. Sources at Manchester United believe Benjamin Šeško is keen on the move, which led them to submit their official bid. Both Man United and Newcastle are now waiting for his decision. So we must have been given some assurances or something that, because the reports up until now, were that, Benjamin Šeško was waiting for United to bid, but we were waiting for the yes from Sesko before we would bid, and we were at this kind of like impasse where it was like, well, we need you to say you want to come before we bid, but you want us to bid before you say you want to come. So something must have changed and something must have happened. So I don't think we would bid if we weren't confident we were going to get the player. That's how, reading between the lines at the time of recording this video, being put on the spot as well. I think that's, hopefully, potentially us, getting this deal. It's obviously not done and dusted yet. Newcastle could outbid us. They could reject our bid and accept Newcastle's, and then where does that leave the situation? Who knows? But really interesting to see. At least we've put our we've played our hands. We played our hands because we've been silent up until now, waiting for the players' buy-in to make a move, and now we've made the move. So we'll have to just wait and see now whether it's accepted, whether it's rejected, and see whether the player actually does come out and say yes, he wants to come. Manchester United sent an official bid to show serious, concrete intentions to RB Leipzig following Newcastle's €90 million bid. Sources at Man United believe Sesko is keen on a move. So yeah, we're still waiting for the decision though. So at the time of recording, we're still waiting to see how this plays out. But get involved in the comments. Let me know what you think. Smash a like on the video if you're excited that we've made a move for Benjamin Šeško. We'll need to wait and see how it all plays out. But get involved. Let me know what you think about all of that in the comments below, as I'm sure that you will. I'll keep an eye on the news as I'm recording. So we'll go through the rest of the news now. If if it does get rejected or it goes south or Newcastle end up getting the player, where does that leave us? Obviously, Sky was saying we've made, inquiries still about Ollie Watkins. We know that he's potentially a striker that we could pivot towards. Another one would be Vlahovic. So Romano said that Sesko is with his agent, Sesko is with his family, and Sesko is considering all details of his decision. But Manchester United in the last 3 days have been offered the possibility to sign Dusan Vlahovic again. If you can't get a deal done for Sesko, Vlahovic is an opportunity. He's ready. He's on the table. Manchester United's reply during the whole 3 days was that we're focusing on Sesko. So according to Romano, we have been offered the opportunity again to sign Dusan Vlahovic, who could be, an option if the Benjamin Šeško deal gets rejected, or if he does actually, he's played us and he's going to go to Newcastle because of a higher agent fee and transfer or wages or whatever. Or sees them as a better project, whatever it works out as. Would Vlahovic be he's a name, isn't he? He's a name, he's a striker. It could potentially be one if we don't get this deal done that we could pivot towards at the end of the window. But I'm not overly keen on Vlahovic, being completely truthful with you. But beggars can't be choosers sometimes, can we? So, but we'll keep an eye on that one. Now, another possibility could be Nicolas Jackson. So, TalkSport was saying Nicolas Jackson has been offered to Manchester United, Newcastle, and AC Milan. Chelsea is seeking around £80 million, but could be open to a loan with an obligation to buy. Now, that wouldn't be the worst idea. Not for £80 million. Ignore that. That's ridiculous. I don't think anyone will be going anywhere near Nicolas Jackson at £80 million. I think that's the starting point. Chelsea want to get maximum value for money so that they can buy, Xavi Simons and Alejandro Garnacho. I don't think we should be entertaining Jackson for £80 million. I think he's a better player though than he's being perceived. I do think actually it would be a decent option for us up front. Wouldn't be my preferred choice, but I wouldn't necessarily cry if we sign Nicolas Jackson. But yeah, like I said, he wouldn't be my first, second, or maybe even third choice. But he's not as bad as what he's being made out to be, I don't think. But what about that? Loan, option to buy, obligation to buy, use the money for Sesko to go and get a midfielder. I wouldn't be against doing that, but not for £80 million. I could see, that kind of working if we don't get Sesko done. Obviously, the belief is that potentially that looking plausible at the time of recording. We don't know his decision yet, but I don't think we would make a bid if we hadn't been given assurances by the player that he wants to come to us, because that's the only way we're bidding for players now. So that's looking positive, in my opinion, at the moment. But what if we don't get Sesko? Could we do Nicolas Jackson on loan with an obligation to buy? Let's include a termination clause of £5 million just to get Chelsea back on that one, and then use the money we've got for a midfielder. I wouldn't be against doing that, but not £80 million, nowhere near £80 million. But give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments below, as I'm sure you will. Now, on midfield, Manchester United have been assessing their options in midfield. Ruben Amorim is keen to add more dynamism in the middle of the park. I can never say that word. That came from The Athletic. Again, no names, though, being linked with midfield. I do think it's an area of concern. Great shouts from you in the comments on previous videos regarding midfielders and stuff. I agree. I do think the midfield is a massive worry. And Amorim's going to live or die by that sword, isn't he? By effectively playing Bruno in the middle. I think it's a risk personally, but we'll have to wait and see how all that plays out. But yeah, there's no real links with names or anything like that with midfielders at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see what comes about. I think once we get Sesko done, hopefully we'll then pivot towards, or if we get Sesko done, we'll pivot towards a midfielder. So maybe some more names will come to the forefront. Could just be someone on loan potentially at the end of the transfer window as well. But let's see how that plays out. But obviously, with bringing in all the players and spending that amount on Sesko, possibly, then we're going to need some exits. So Alejandro Garnacho is patiently waiting for Chelsea. Some clubs are calling around Europe, Germany, Italy, and Saudi. Garnacho wants to go to Chelsea, is waiting for Chelsea, so that's the point. Chelsea and Garnacho are quite advanced on player side because Chelsea spoke to the representatives of Alejandro Garnacho. The deal is advancing on player side, not yet club to club. Speaking to my sources, there's a very good chance chance to see this deal happening later in the window. That came from Romano, suggesting that, talks have began between Chelsea and his agent. Sky was saying that Chelsea are in talks to sign Alejandro Garnacho and Xavi Simons, with discussions ongoing for some time. They aim to secure both signings before the transfer window closes. And Chelsea are in informal talks with Manchester United over Alejandro Garnacho, but the deal is not progressed beyond initial discussions. So that came from The Athletic. So all signs are pointing towards Garnacho going to Chelsea. We knew that anyway. That's not exactly breaking news, but it does seem to be picking up a bit of momentum if we're now hearing about talks with agents, initial talks with club to club, stuff like that as well. It does seem like that's going to be potentially one that can accelerate over the next couple of weeks as well. And then hopefully we can get that money in. We've already spent it on Sesko, and we're recouping that money there, and we're spending in under the assumption that Garnacho is going to be sold, or we can then use that money for goalkeeper, midfielder, or something else towards the end of the transfer window. But give us your thoughts on that in the comments. And then final exit is Jadon Sancho to Dortmund is pushing to sign Sancho, but he has not made a formal offer, although they have gathered information on deal conditions. United prefers a permanent deal, but a loan is possible. I hope not, with a value likely under £25 million. Juventus, Napoli and Saudi clubs have also shown interest. So that came from Sky Sports, suggesting that Dortmund are potentially pushing to sign Sancho. Hopefully they'll do a permanent deal. We want less than £25 million, which is I think it's like about 17, isn't it? Around that we've been quoted before in the past. There were reports saying he'd be happy to take a 50% pay cut to go back to Dortmund. And interestingly, since David Ornstein come out and said, I don't know what anyone's talking about regarding Sancho and Juventus, there's not really been any links of Sancho going to Juventus since that point in time. So that's ironic, isn't it? But give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments below. And I'm just going to check, because my phone has been absolutely blowing up with news. No doubt it's regarding Benjamin Šeško, because like I said, it is the breaking news at the time I'm recording. Official bid. It's just Romano. I think it's just people reposting what Romano said. Concrete intentions. Yeah, no, it's just people reposting what I've already bought to you from Romano and David Ornstein and everyone like that as well. But give us your thoughts and feelings. I'd love to hear your opinion on the Sesko news, because that's the breaking news at the time I'm recording this video. Overnight Newcastle making an official bid. Now United making an official bid as well. I don't think we would do that if we haven't been given the go ahead from Sesko that he would choose us ahead of Newcastle personally. Obviously, that could be different. We could be in an hour's time, bid rejected, and he's holding up a Newcastle shirt in a couple of days' time. But I think it's positive that United have made that official bid. Whether it's going to be accepted or not, though, by RB Leipzig, we'll wait and see, because it's less than what Newcastle have bid. But remember, Romano did say that if a special club comes in for Sesko, then there would potentially be like some sort of gentleman's agreement on a lower price. So whether he sees Newcastle or us as a special club, who knows? But maybe that's why we bid the figure that we have as well, because we know that he's got an agreement to go for that around that figure as a gentleman's agreement. And if he gives us the go ahead, then obviously all signs are pointing towards it. But give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments. Be really interesting to see what you've got to say regarding the deal. Are you excited? Are you wanting Benjamin Šeško to come in? What do you think of the price as well? Big outlay, big expense on a young un-Premier League proven player, which I have red flags about. I've shared that in previous videos as well. But the positives are, the guy is rapid, he's got a bullet shot, and is 6'5" as well. And he has assets, that I can see why, he's got the potential to be a really, really good striker. And I think he would improve the team. It's just, is it a 70 odd million pounds improvement? Who knows? But then when you look at on the flip side, if you look at the prices players are going for this summer, it's been ridiculous. Like if Elanga's going for 55 million pounds, and I'm not being disrespectful or anything, Elanga had a great season for Forest, but no, like a 55 million pound player, I don't think so. Jamie Gittins for that amount as well. Look at the prices that a lot of players are going for. It is an inflated market. I think the value of players has gone up this summer, and we're not immune to inflation or to price rises on players. So it is what it is. The cost is the cost. I just worry: are we paying a lot of money for You know, it's a risk. I think it's a risk from the club, but, you know, I'd like to think it's an educated risk or a gamble that they're happy to take because of Christopher Vival and Jason Wilcox and all the data analysis that we've got now behind the scenes are looking at it to say, well, actually, no, this is the guy that we want. So we'll just have to wait and see. And until proven otherwise, we've got to assume that, you know, in my opinion, we've got to assume that, you know, he's the right guy and he's well scouted and he's well kind of he's well looked at from behind the scenes as well. So we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. But give us your thoughts below. Smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. See you in the next one.